Hello everyone, my name is Anitsu and I'm back with another episode of DigiTopics. So today I'm going to be talking about deck building and some general things to follow and note when you are building your own decks. In a previous video I highlighted how starter decks are generally made in their formula, and while that's a general good place to start, it's not the end-all be-all on how decks are made, and each deck is very different and it plays different and uses different cards as a result, and this all stems into understanding and identifying your win condition. Being able to understand and identify your win condition is generally how you should start building your deck, because that win condition will influence what cards you want to use and what other cards you're going to want to play, and it plays around with the ratios, all depending on the main card and how the deck is going to win. So I've laid out this very basic example of a deck. This is more of a tempo-orientated deck that is focused around Metal Seadramon and Vikmon's abilities, where they focus on the benefits of your opponent not having any Digimon with Digivolution sources. So both of them play off of that same win condition, and as a result, we're going to be playing some other high synergy cards to add to those cards where they want no Digivolution sources, or cards to help get rid of some Digivolution sources. So that way we could trigger our abilities. So that's just kind of a small basic example on what looking at a win condition is and how certain card choices would influence that. But there are some general deck building ratios that you should definitely be thinking about. And obviously these ratios are going to change depending on your win condition, but these are just good rule of thumbs to use. So starting off with Digitamas, you're going to want to run 4 to 5 Digitamas. Some people only run 4 Digitamas, so that way they see only the 4 that they want, but I generally like running 5 just because it doesn't hurt having that 5th one in most of the time, and the 5th one also could have potential synergies with the deck that would still help the deck out. As far as rookies, generally you're going to want to run 12 to 14 rookies. So the way I like to break it down is I like to have one set of rookies where it has a when played effect. I'll have one set of rookies where it has an inheritable ability, and then I'll have one set of rookies where it is just a vanilla value rookie to play for efficiency. And then that could leave you with 2 potential slots to fill in with whatever you want. Next, as far as champions go, you're going to want to be running 10 to 12 champions. Generally, the way I like to break it down is I'll run 2 to 4 of the vanilla value champion. I'll run 2 to 4 of a champion with an inheritable skill. I'll run a full set of a champion with either blocker or a skill that is innate to him. As far as ultimates go, you generally want to run 8 to 10 ultimates. So usually I'll just end up running 4 ultimates for value, and then I'll run 4 ultimates for either an innate or an inheritable skill. And then as far as megas go, you'll generally want to run 4 to 8 megas. So obviously you're going to run a set of your primary win condition mega, and then if you want, you could run a secondary win condition mega just in case you don't see your primary one. And then the rest of the cards are going to be more cards you want to see in your security, but there are also decent other option cards that you just might want to run. So generally I will run 2 to 4 Tamer cards. So depending on the deck, again, these ratios are going to change. But the Tamer cards are good because they have the security effect of getting into play, and then they'll usually have their own innate ability that just passively helps the deck along. Then I'll run generally some tech cards to just help the deck function and move along, and then I'll just run some removal cards to try to remove the potential problems my opponent is going to be playing. So that's generally how I go about building decks. I'll first start with the win condition, and then pick the cards and the ratios that are more appropriate or in line with that win condition. But this is not like the end-all be-all, because deck building in Digimon is going to end up being very diverse and very vast. So feel free to experiment and test some really, really crazy things. Just because this is a general guideline doesn't mean it's the end-all be-all on how to build decks, because again, there's a multitude of different play styles, different win conditions, and it all feeds into what cards you want to use or what cards are good for what you're trying to do. But the experimentation is definitely there, because as more and more cards get added to the pool, the vast number of options that you have available to you will grow and increase, and decks will change and evolve and grow over time. So who knows what the future has, but this is just a more general basic guideline on how I would go about building your average deck. And then the other thing to mention is looking for cards, because some players might not even know certain cards exist. So usually I'll just have a database open that will help me look for the cards that I'm trying to look for. I personally like using DigimonCard.dev. They have a great system here in place in terms of both deck building and card searching. So they have it organized by sets, and you could even use some of their search features to try to find something that you're looking for. So if you don't necessarily like a particular card that some people are running, you could try to find a card in that slot that also fits that role. So let's just say I don't like a blue champion and I'm looking for a replacement. I could just type in blue champion, and then it gives me a list of all of the blue champions to think about. So that's just another important thing, is just being able to look at what are some other potential options in case you don't necessarily think that something is working out. Knowing what's available to you is another huge part of deck building. And I hope that this is a good place for you to start thinking about how you go about building decks, because we're all different and each deck is different. So that's kind of all I have for this video. As always, feel free to tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe for more content. And I will see you in the next video.